I guess I was going to say extremely, but I think it's infinitely paradoxical.
Yes.
Like, you know, you know what I mean? It's like when you have the humility to admit that both sides are the same.
Yeah.
Everything's the
Yeah.
same.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, this seems to be a very powerful February, and we're now a little bit over halfway. But we've got what in tomorrow is the new year, the fire horse, and an eclipse.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I just want to make sure everybody hears what you said. I was kind of telling you, you said something about my post, and I was talking about the energy, and you just kind of came in and said in the Janine way, well, basically everybody's, what was it?
Everywhere we are multi-dimensional beings, therefore every realm and dimension is within us. And what's happening right now is we are consciously remembering that. We are consciously experiencing that, waking up to that. So we're dreaming hugely. It's like we're we're coming into consciously recognizing all that we are, and we are through all those realms. So we're grabbing snatches here and windows there and experiences here, and it's like we are bringing into ourself all these facets of us that are alive right now, experiencing right now in all these other realms. And then we come to a time where we bring it all so far into the oneness. Every realm comes into the oneness that we come back to center point, and the dreaming slows right down, and the experiencing of ourself in all these realms slows right down. And it doesn't mean that it disappears. It just means that we've brought into like a cohesive one point of all, and we can go to any of those places anytime we wish, but we are back here in this point of experience, and this is where we need to be mainly. So we're fanning out, although it's all done within us, and then it's like in we come, and we're centered, focused, present, fully present in the here and now. So what you're doing at the moment is you're seeing yourself, you're experiencing yourself in the all that you are. Peace here, peace there. Just grabbing these windows of opportunity, and it's all part of the awakening and the remembering of ourselves in the all that we are, not just the tip of the iceberg, but the entire iceberg that holds every realm and dimension within itself.
Yes. Yes to that. And I love to take your words and put them in my simple terms. Because I could never say that. That says it all. That's that to me, that's that mother's voice. That's a big part of our awareness now is the allowance of her voice. But to the speaking to the one that makes it happen in the matter and all that stuff that carries out the vision. It's like what your words take me to is, I've spent the last 3 or 4 shows as we've talked and had these conversations. I've had these experiences with these white animals on the beach and with certain star systems and the dreams, so many different things. But you're absolutely correct. Each one of those is a moment that is multidimensional, that is showing me more of myself, and that ultimately I won't need to be talking about them because they're all kind of sending me the same direction, and that's the point.
That's the point. That is the point.
Isn't it great when you come into awareness and you go, God, I was stupid.
We all are.
I'm having
We can
I'm
all
having
say
this
that.
conversation with this bird who I'm convinced he's in my soul monad, and he probably is, my soul family, whatever. a masculine brother that showed up for 2 straight weeks, and it's me.
Yeah.
It's me.
Yes.
That's the truth. It's me.
Absolutely.
That's
And sometimes to actually hear ourselves, we come in a form to face ourselves. And in that form, like this bird, in that form, it's like we're really present, we're really aware. The wisdom that's coming from this form is amazing. And then it comes to us, oh my gosh, I'm talking to myself. This is me I'm talking to. But we need that form sometimes to become present.
Yeah, I remember when everybody has their own reawakening experiences, awakening experiences. And mine involved these 6 aspects of me that were like biblical
Yes.
prophets that I didn't know. You always know when that stuff comes in, you got to go look it up to see that was he real? But they used to come out in session, they would come out and stand before this oval, kind of opaque table, like pearly table. And in the middle of it, they had the book of life, right? This big book opened up, and they would step up and they'd read whatever. But that's what this is. I just got that when you said that. That vision came back, and here we go again with me showing myself, right? Remembering myself. Everything I'm looking at is that book that they were looking at. Everything I'm looking at is my book of life, and I'm literally creating it page by page.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
And it is.
For sorry, we're talking over each other a wee bit here. There's a wee bit of a
There's
delay.
it'll go away.
Yeah, okay. For years and years, I would be called to this room in my dream state, and I'd walk into this room, and this huge wooden table was in the center of the room, and all these hieroglyphs and symbols were on the top of the table, and they would move like they were all alive, like the table itself was a story in itself, and they would move and click and change, and as they did that, and I'd sit at my seat at the table, it was a high back like a small throne. There were all these other beings around the table too, of so many different civilizations and dimensions, all sitting at this table. And I often felt like I was coming in to be reprimanded, until one day it was said to me that was only a human aspect that I carry, that would never be, that would never happen in this room. But I'd sit down at my chair, and I'd look around at all these other beings, and I'd watch the table, and the table would click into a certain position, and then the energy around all the chairs would change. All of us in these chairs, the energy within us would change, and we'd come into a cohesive point where there would be conversation with no words spoken, just like we would call in our humanness telepathic conversation. But it goes deeper than that, because our entire beings were in, on every level of us, we were in conversation. And you just talking about that pearl table then and that book of life is exactly it's the same as your way of seeing what I was seeing with this table and these hieroglyphs and symbols and that. It took me years and years to realize that every one of those people around that table was myself. And I went into deep conversation and communion with myself. But I heard it on multi levels of myself, because I saw all these beings in multi layers and levels of themselves from different different dimensions, from different civilizations. So I really listened into this conversation. I was present, fully present with it. I was given some profound pieces in these conversations. But if I had just sat down with myself in a dream and started having a conversation, it wouldn't have gone near as deep. I wouldn't have absorbed it near as much as I did when I was still at that stage that I believed there were others that knew more than me, others that held deeper wisdom than myself, others that had lived life experiences that I was yet to explore. We've done it all, Todd. We've been it all. We've done it all. We haven't got anything to go. We're already right there now in this moment, doing it, living it, being it, experiencing it, right here in this breath. So it's exciting.
You just connected another dot for me. I'm still taking in everything that you said. Yes. So Okay, so when I first reawoke, May 30th, 2011, 1:11 in the morning, a fireball came from the trees and the face of Christ appeared. I at the time I said that's the cosmic Christ. That's somehow, whatever. My father, okay? And we had a conversation, whatever. And so for a long time, to your point, I always saw that outside of me. I saw those 6 ascendeds outside of me. I saw Archangel Michael and any other Merlin, anything. It was always outside of me. And eventually I realized that first encounter, that was me. So over the years, and up until this moment, I haven't solved this till right now. It went from, pleading to those aspects that you saw, like you said, with more wisdom, for help in the dark nights and etc. And then it kind of went into where, I had some experiences where they actually came into the body, but eventually you get to the point where'd everybody go?
That's
And
exactly right. Yes.
And so then you go into a deeper part of the last couple of years, I'd say post-COVID, and you get to those points sometimes when you're not with your sweetheart or when, you're just in one of those and the energy's full, and you kind of go into that prayer, or you go, I did, I can speak for myself, I would try to go into that prayer space, so to speak, and I'd say, wait a minute, who are you talking to? And I was kind of a little wobbly with that until right now, because I realize now, because I was able to do this a few days ago, which makes sense because things just exploded like a week ago. I went into that state, and it was so innocent, it was so pure, it was so genuine. It was like when I was 5 years old, and I sat down with the universe, and I put my hands together and said, can you help me with this? And my heart was open, you know what I mean? Very emotionally driven. And I went into that. And then a bunch of stuff has happened in the last 8 or 10 days. And now I realize I can do that, and how I did that the other night for the first time in a long time, because I'm actually pleading, if you will, lack of a better word, praying to, seeking, asking, knocking on the door of those aspects of me that I have yet to meet, because those prophets, those angels, those beings, those golden beings, they continue, they keep going. It's like the reverse of what you said when you were in that moment, and it wasn't just, if I'm talking to Merlin, I'm not just talking to Merlin. There's a whole, a large wing of the Akashics in there. So yeah,
Yes.
Thank you for connecting those dots. I feel like I just won like on a game show or something. You win the prize. two I was stupid moments in a row.
God, nothing stupid about
No,
you.
I know. It's a joke.
Yeah, just teasing. I know. When when we get to the point of realization that no matter who we face, whether they're physical or whether they're ethereal, they are us, ourselves. So when I face you and we have a conversation, what I'm feeling in myself and what I'm seeing in you is actually myself. So, I see you, you are individual, you are separate from me in this moment, yet what I'm feeling towards you and how your words come across to me is myself. And if we realize that in every moment, the 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 learning, the growth, the deepening of our presence here is huge, absolutely huge. Because you've heard this saying before, really there is only one here. Well, truly there is only one here, and I know that's far too deeper thing to say, that a lot of people just don't get that. But like, we hear ourselves. So I hear your words, but I hear them in a way that it's myself talking to myself. No matter what you use as your words and explaining how or expressing yourself in that moment, how they land on me is myself, for myself and with myself. So, and we, in our journey of remembering, we get these awarenesses, these understandings, these realizations that are another part of the ocean of the being of us, and we're filling that up in every moment, every experience. So these awarenesses are the profound parts coming back into us now that are supporting our return. So our return to the purity of love. Actually, when you were talking before about the space you were in the other night, when you put your hands together and you asked for support, and you were in your innocence and you're in your purity, I mean, that in itself, right there, no more, no less, that is the being that we are. So you had in that moment simply surrendered down your egoic personality, your thinking mind, all the parts that you use as a human being here. You just simply softened right through those back into the purity of your being and asked for help. And that's why you've had such a profound week since that moment.
Yeah. I was so, and this is how that wisdom works, right? I was so moved. I was like you're saying, I was listening to myself talk to me.
Yeah.
And and then by the same token, because my soul's funny, I was thinking at the end when you said that, that's why I started laughing. I was thinking, yeah, be careful what you ask for. Because the harder the prayer, the faster it comes in. Yeah, it's been a while, but it's been beautiful. God, and what you're speaking of to me is it is so many things. It's the new form of the new original form of communication.
Yes.
That's what it is, and it is a reality. And really, this thing about everything outside of me is me. If we keep it just to people, they are me.
Yeah.
That is me. That is a very challenging thing because of the experience of the human condition and all that brought in. But that was the recipe. That's all, to get to a higher ground.
Yes.
And so, but it is one of those things that you can't. None of us can just say it. The point of it, the explanation of it, is the experience of it, and the experience of it, I feel, has been a path of that surrendering moment that you were just talking about. Ultimately, little ones, big ones, little ones, big ones, but it's really a lot of humble pie for the ego to eat, and that's okay. But yeah, this is the kind of, this might be the best explanation I've heard to date. And if everything goes all right, there'll be a better one tomorrow, then the next day, then the next day. Because that's kind of how this energy is working. But of what we're stepping into, to actually
Absolutely.
have a tipping point percentage of people, on the planet, or even sentient beings on the planet, because the animals are talking to me and all kinds of stuff are happening. Something's going on. How radically, softly, purely things would come into alignment. It would be inevitable. It would be inevitable.
Yes, that would be.
And if there is any accuracy to, and I guess there is at some energetic level, of a two Earth split or something, there's no way you could be in this environment with anything less. It's like being in a higher dimension of greater love, and it's true. And we're in these bodies. That's mind-blowing. Thank you for sharing that third gem for the day. We're only 15 minutes in, people. You get one every 5.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure, Doc. That Earth split is actually happening right now. It's right now in this moment. It's there is a choice. We live by choice. In every moment we live by choice. But the greatest choice is, which direction do we take right now in awakening or not? And everybody's awakening, but they're awakening at their own speed and their own timing, and it might not be in this particular lifetime that they wake up. And that wake up is really only remembering who and what they are. But right now, vibrationally, people are separating, and it's happening in friendships and families, and and right throughout the world, people are separating because their vibrational fields are no longer a match. And it happens organically. It can happen through fiery anger and all that, but normally it's just happening to the majority organically, where we just think one day, oh, I haven't seen so and so for a while, or if I have, just didn't feel the same to me anymore, and it just organically we see them less and less and less until maybe just once a year do they cross our awareness or our pathway, and then it's not even our pathway, it's just our awareness, and then eventually it's not even our awareness. So that is the separation of the worlds that's happening right now. It's not like there's going to be two physical earths. Although there is many earths and many different realms and of this particular planet, but it's just that right here in this reality, that's what's happening. The frequencies are coming together. So those of a like frequency are over here, and those of their like frequency are over there. And the gulf gets wider and wider and wider, softer, gentler, disappears over the horizon, complete. So, it's only us that gets in our own way at times and can cause quite a bit of friction for that parting to happen. There's no need for that.
Yeah, which is normally 100% self-inflicted.
Yeah, yes, it does.
Yeah, it's kind of like I remember in my 20s, I used to read a lot, and I was reading a guy from the Renaissance from Sweden named Emanuel Swedenborg. He was a psychic. He was also a doctor, a scientist, engineer, and so on. And at 57 years old, he was seeking the soul, in trying to merge the non-physical and the physical, and he would put himself into a trance. He did this every day for 17 years, and he documented, wrote all these books, and I had his big volume. And one thing that really stood out for me was he described, and again, this was his own journey with guides and angels and so on, 144 levels, 72 below, 72 above, right? And basically went through in this book all the different levels of what we call heaven and hell, right? And basically what he come away with was that it's the natural formation. And so energies go where like begets like, okay?
Yes.
And it helped me later when I started to look at this crazy world. But then when I started to understand the mechanics of, let's just say, the psychic field, the astral, the non-physical tech, whatever, I started to understand the disruptions in that divine order, so to speak. And I think what's happening now is those things are happening energetically, what you're describing in the human experience. And it's kind of like when you have an issue in your body and you've had it for a long time. A lot of people are experiencing this. I have. And it breaks up. And it's not that we're releasing anything. It's just going back to that part of that internal universe where it lives. Like,
yes.
And that's all it is. And I love that you said, real quick, I love that you said it's getting softer. I've heard many, many people say over the last few months, I don't see so-and-so anymore. We don't talk anymore. I don't know what it is. Or I talk to so-and-so. It just isn't the same. And it's okay. It's okay. And it is getting softer. It really is. Yeah. Nice.
There's been a lot of people say to me, I just don't know what I've done. I don't know what the change is. I want to talk to this one that I haven't seen for a while. I want to make it right. And that's us getting in the way of the organic process of the gently pulling apart. So if nothing's actually happened, but we just feel into ourselves for a moment and we realize we are honest with ourselves, and we haven't actually got that deep pull anymore to be friends with that person. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. That is the organic pulling apart, and we can send that person love. We can hold that person in our deep love as strongly as if they were still physically in our life, sometimes even stronger, because they're not any type of friction or resistance in our life as if they could be, if they were physically still there. So sometimes the love we have for them is even more pure and comes from a deeper place when we've separated, and we just think of them fondly, and we just bring them into our awareness, and can feel them in our heart. They don't have to pass on for us to feel them in our heart. We just carry them there. They feel that. So
Absolutely,
it's
absolutely. I think that goes back to that description you gave of that point you were talking about, where all the levels were connecting and communicating, right? But and I
yes,
think too, like what you talked to about the soft thing, is I did hear prior to this, and probably experienced it too. Some of these letting goes were a little bit inflammatory, seemed to be, but from the soul's genius, the recognition and awareness that it was program based or role based, or
yes.
expectation based. And so now I think what I've seen as I listen to your words and I connect the dots again, now it's more like an echo. Am I going to go ahead and reach out to this person or talk to them on the phone? And it's kind of an obligation, right? Like you feel
Yes.
almost obligated. Like I'm not a good person if I don't. And I've experienced this with my mother and father, who I reunited with after 6 and 8 years of starseed. You're
Yeah.
ostracized from the family thing. But a couple, 2, 3 years ago, like a lot of people, I came back to both of them, and now I sit with them on the throne. You know what I mean? Like the mother, the father,
Yes.
I'm there. But I don't talk to him. I've talked to my dad
No.
twice. They were twice in 7 or 8 months. The last one was the most beautiful conversation. It was pure innocence. My mom I've talked to, I think, 3 times since then, and there's no love lost. It's just not just the people in general, but situations that are represented by the people that present that energy to you, or that part of you to you, or whatever. It's almost like, well, if it would make sense with what you said earlier, and I believe this now 100%, if I am pleading and praying to parts of myself that are greater than me, which is simply saying more, I would have a greater awareness by meeting those pieces of me, and they guide me. It would only make sense that if this is what's happening with the aspects that were taking up my time, or where I was immersed in, they're now leaving, then yeah, they're still here. They're just not being relied upon anymore. They brought the code that I needed for the given moment, something like that. That makes sense. But you,
100,
yeah,
yes, 100% agree with you. You know, people might find this a bit hard to hear right now, but in the future, we won't have the mother, father, daughter, son family unit that we've got now. That has been created through a lot of need and stories that have kept us together. So in the future, because we will know ourselves more on the soul level, on the higher, more refined, pure level, it will be every soul brother and sister, every beautiful elderly, the wise crone, or it'll be everybody that resonates with us that will have the same degree of pure love for. There won't be a family unit as such as there is right now, because karma has gone. Karma finishes in this lifetime, and those family units were karmic based relationships. We came into them to help balance up previous life experience or other life experience right in that moment. And those beautiful family members put their hand up to say that they would help with that, support that as we did with them. There's nothing like that moving forward. It's all completed in this particular lifetime. All karma is coming to an end as we know it, as something that is taken forward into another life or taken into another realm. It is now an instantaneous peace. So right in the very moment. And so we are also learning to be completely transparent, to be completely open and honest, and therefore there is no karma, you see. So where we've heard in the past, it takes a village to bring up a child. Well, that's exactly how it's going to be in the world that's developing right now, is that the children will be free and able to just be an eye kept on them by anybody that is around the area in that particular village style living. And so it won't be just the mum and dad per se that will have responsibility for the child. It will be everybody in that area that will have responsibility for that child. And the child will be given a lot more responsibility for itself as well. So, yeah, I've gone off track here, but it's sort of, I've been meandering down a river, if you like.
No, you're not. No, and I love that. I love the, here we go with the paradoxical thing again. I love that whole thing about it takes a village. Because I'm seeing all this in the energetics, going, holy crap, she's saying all this stuff I can't put put words to, but because it's so real time too. But as a universal body, my innerversal, I've got a village, right? But I'm the child. You know what I mean? I'm the child, and this is what we're talking about: this greater awareness, this remembering that the way you refer to it, which is so true. That's simply what it is. We are, and let's just keep it however you want to, but we are God.
Yes,
we are that, and so the space in between what we've yet to experience in this cycle, from where we are to that infinite edge, is all. We're not missing anything. It's just undiscovered at this time. It's like we're the ones that wiped our memory out. We start fresh.
Totally. Yep.
But
totally. We're just unfolding. We're unfolding into ourselves, Todd. That's what's happening right now. We're just peeling back the layers of self and discovering more and more and more and more. And you know, we're infinite beings, so we never stop discovering more of ourselves. And so we are internally the village and we are internally the child. And around us in the physical, we'll be in the village type settings of how we live life, where everybody takes care of the child. So there'll be no loneliness, no loneliness like there is now. There'll be on no layer of us will we know loneliness, because we will have the deep inner connection to the village of ourself, and we've got the deep outer connection to the village around us in this reality. So this is where we're moving. It's so completely different to what we know now, and we're just starting to dip our toe into the feels, if you like, that beautiful, deep, warm, loving presence of ourself that is showing us the way, that is saying, hey, this is you, this purity is you. You know, this innocence is you. Innocence is not a weakness. Innocence is profound clarity. That is innocence, you know, profound connection. Innocence is love. And not the lustful, not the emotional, not the ridiculous love that we've been taught, the give and take, the pull back, bring forward, just simply love as our essence, as our presence. That is, this is us.
That's like the whole thing about the like begets like, and it's not something that you it's not something that you kind of input and say this is how I'm going to be. It's not. The innocence is the 100% natural, transparent. Genuine, being yourself, which we've not been allowed, which has been difficult to do because of our own self-judgment that was projected and blamed on other external aspects that were parts of us that were just screaming to be seen. So here we are. But I was going to say, on or about middle of December, you and several other beloved sisters have been coming on, every 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever. And I've heard a few of them say this, and one of them just sent me a note, and she just said something about, I feel it looks like we're going to be drawn into community now. Okay? And I heard a few others say that, and I feel like there's something to the frequency of that it almost expresses like emotion, MOTION, where that which you're describing will materialize naturally and organically. And I'm also sitting here going, I'm in this authentic Mexican town for the last few months. I've told you about it. And and you're talking about how basically it's one being. Everyone watches everyone. You know what I mean? It's the perfect fit, so to speak. So they started this carnival last night. And I walked through the town and through the plaza and through the main avenida, and I've seen the place full before, but this was like more people than I'd ever seen, all local, and it was just like that. You'd have kids going on a bike 3 blocks over that were 5 or 6 years old. In America, you would never let something like that happen. I mean, there was just so much energetic symmetry, synergetic. There was the ant community, the ant hill, like everything was just. And I'm thinking as I'm listening to you, like, are these things already occurring? Well, they'd have to be. They'd have to be.
100% they are. Yes.
They would have to be.
The change is coming through us. So as we change, of course, the reflection of our world changes as well. So it's already beginning. The separation's already beginning. The coming together, the communities is already beginning. I'm seeing that in pockets all around the world at the moment, is the sense of community that's happening now, because in truth, we're communal beings. I mean, how can we not be communal beings when there's only one of us here? Like, we are communal beings. It's all one. So this deepest part of us longs for that oneness of all of us together in a harmonic state, in a gentle flow, in a joyful dance, like whatever it is, we do it together and we are boosted. We are strengthened. We are clearer. So by ourselves we are magnificent, but bring us together and like we hold everything right there in the palm of our hand physically in this world. So, and that's the way it's going to be, Todd. Like, we'll have groups that absolutely love to garden. So they will pour their focus, their energies, their love into the plants and grow plants like we've never experienced before or seen before here in this reality. And then we'll have those that are so creative with their arts and parts like that. And their art, they'll come together and their art will literally vibrate off the canvas or whatever type of art it is. And I mean, it does now, but you bring a group together to create, and they're doing it through the purity of love, and you actually have a fully alive energy that's transforming. And so we'll have groups of people's passions come together, those that love to be in a kitchen creating foods in a kitchen. Imagine the energy of those foods from the gardeners that have grown them to those that love to cook them when they're put into the bodies. It's like
it's truly
everything's going to
truly conscious.
Yeah, everything will be magnified out of anything that we can even realize right now in this world. Everything will be magnified, and it's right through the purity of love. So, this is love that's guiding the way right now, and that is our essence, the love that we are that's guiding us through. So you're in that village in Mexico at the moment. because it's been divinely orchestrated. And you'll be there because you're learning about yourself, of course, and realizing about yourself. And all these beautiful aspects that have always been in you are starting to rise to the surface now. And you're starting to see pieces that you haven't seen before and experience moments that you haven't experienced before. So just, this, Todd, that every time you see something and you go, wow, you're not actually seeing it for the first time as the Todd you were. There is a new version of you in that moment that's seeing it on a whole new level, seeing it in layers, seeing it multidimensionally. So, and we take that in so much deeper, so much. The little child in their innocence and purity is a sponge. We all know this, that in the first 5 to 7 years, everything is soaked up from this world. Well, when we come back to the innocence and the purity of our being, we're a sponge. We take in every sensation, every delicious moment, every exquisite piece is it's like a morsel of life is brought into us, and it makes us thrive. We thrive on it. So this is who we are and where we are headed. And now we're having more and more moments of these exquisite pieces.
Yeah, I love this. I love this. This is the current and best explanation to me, what you're saying. That truly, beyond the words, that we've hit a period or we hit the next threshold or whatever, that we're able to see ourselves in everything. And not just as, a statement, but as an experience. Because each one of those things that I'm looking at, the trees I put my hand on at the beach, the bird, all that stuff is me. And it all has a message for me, just like all these dimensional travels and meditative travels that we've had, and even my dreams, which is interesting that you started it like that too, because at the beginning when you were talking about this, because when I got out of the last one, and it was a culmination of all these dreams, and the one I wrote the post about, and I won't tell the post, but the other main character, there was my tribe and there was another tribe, and the leader of the other tribe met with me because there was differences, and she was feminine. They had a feminine leader, and I knew in the dream, that was me, and that this was some type of Jesus Christ. Yeah. Well, of course, now the whole body feels it, and you're like you're going to cry like an innocent child would. All right. So, I knew, I knew that. But again, this original nature runs differently than the normal one, because the normal one says, well, that happened then and this happened now. No, remembering it now brought back that moment and brought in the full clarity. There we go. Innocence.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have you written a book? You've written a book.
No. I've been co-author of a few books, but I haven't written one on my own.
No, this is an easy. I'm a real, let's put this in layman's terms. This is a very simple way to see it, especially as we kind of make this part of our transition is coming out of like the logical, cognitive, in more of the visionary, higher dimensional kind of communication lines. But this to me is a very good little blueprint. And I guess maybe it is. Well, I would say this: it's happening to me. You or me, you're telling me what's happening at this time. It's no different than the bird telling me this or whatever. And I believe, as the individual goes, so goes the collective. So there must be a hell of a lot of people on this planet that are stepping into this experiential.
There is a hell of a lot of people on this planet that's stepping into this experiential. And up till now, or up until a few years ago, we spoke from concept only. We didn't, most people hadn't experienced what they had read about or talked about with others, so therefore it was still conceptual. There was a lot of hope, a lot of wishing, a lot of dreaming, dreaming not as in the profound dreams of now, but just trying to dream in the future. And now it's becoming more and more experiential, because that is the only way it's real to us, is it has to be experiential. So just going back to seeing ourselves in everything, of course, there will be the times where we look across the street and we see somebody that we don't particularly like the way they're behaving or the way they're talking. And whereas in the past we would have applied judgment, we would have immediately gone into projection or judgment of them. Now it's like, okay, so what am I feeling right in this moment as I watch that man across the road? What am I feeling? And then know that we are in awareness of it, that was right there in that moment of our experience here, to show us in our awareness of what we're feeling towards it, because it's purifying out of us. So, in the past, we'd dive deep, we'd go back, we'd wonder why we're still like that. All that self-beat up is completely finished with now. It's only a habit that goes around in our mind. So now we see something we don't like, we come back to ourselves, we ask ourselves, what am I feeling right in this moment? And we own that feeling. We're completely honest with ourselves and know that it's purifying out of us, because nothing less than love's pure vibration will exist in us in the future. In over the next few years, we are cleansing, purifying it all. So of course we're going to see things that are less than love's vibration, so that we can recognize, own that part, and allow it to purify out of us. But that's all we have to do now, Todd, is just become aware of it, own it in ourselves, give it a moment. I always say to people, the greatest, most powerful moments that we have now, beyond everything else, is the pause. So when we pause for a moment, we come back, we pull ourselves all the way back into ourself. We are here, we are present. So we can look out at the outer world, but we are in ourself, present in ourself. And in that moment, we can observe ourselves, we can own ourselves, we can see ourselves, we can feel ourselves. We are experiencing ourselves. So we observe outside the world around us, and we experience the inner world, the world within us, right in that pause moment. So, I've talked about the stillness before, but every day we are moving deeper into the stillness. We are requiring the stillness more and more and more, because that is where the most profound realizations come to us from, is in that stillness. But the pause is what we do before we make a choice, before we act or react, before we speak. Before we do anything like that now, we are learning to pause just for a very quick moment and catch up with ourselves. So that is us letting go the human thinking mind and just coming straight into that depth, that awareness of the heart, and coming from that place in the next breath.
That's another really good one. I think this is the 11th one. No, that's actually 2 in 1, because one is, and I don't want anyone to miss this, because there was 2 parts to it. One is, whatever you're seeing, the importance is not what you're going to do, or what your judgment will be, or no judgment, or whatever. The point is no thought. The point is just to let it, the feeling of it, the feeling of the energy hit you first, and let it have its necessary space, the space of alignment, the openness, the stepping across, whatever you want to call it, and it does subside, it dissipates, and then you're more instinctive, and you go from there. That is such a subtle thing, but again, I think that's a very good description of what's occurring to people, as you were saying. Because I'm just looking at my own experience and what I can witness. And I'm laughing too, because last night I went to the beach, and it was later than normal, and I was very tired, and I normally don't sit, and I sat with my back to one of the palm trees, one of the coconut trees, one of my trees, right? And I was there, and normally the time I go, this time, there just wasn't normally anyone there, but the next, like the next tree over, like maybe like 4 meters, 5 meters, there was a little cove there, and these 4 or 5 guys came, and they were, they were drinking, and they were having a good time and stuff. But I was kind of in a meditative state, and I kind of see myself in a sphere, like a globe, a dome, and of course underneath the earth it continues. But so I'm like that, and I'm like kind of like looking around. I can hear them, and I said, "Oh, they're sitting in my dome." Like they're there. And so I got to this point of thinking, well, do you just pull it back a little? No, I don't pull it back. It's in my space for a reason. And something happened, or one of them got up and they disturbed me a little bit in my meditation with a shadow going by, and it's a big guy. And I'm like, so I did feel something. I felt a little bit of, I better be on my toes. Maybe there, judgment came in. Right? And then I just let it go. I said, no, just feel it. And then revisit where you're at. I'm in my dome. It's all one. This is my space. I'm a reflection of it all. And then the funniest thing happened. One of these guys had an infectious laugh. And I've had people tell me when I'm in my, childlike nature, which is most of the time, that I laugh in that kind of that way. And I swear to you, this kid laughed like 16 times, and I swore it was me laughing. And so to your point, they that was me, right? It was me 45, whatever years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, with my friends hanging out on the back of a pickup truck, drinking a cold beer, just that's all they were doing. Yeah. So again, there's a lot to be said for the way things are being presented to us. It is that book of life. We can read right off of it in real time, and it seems to be offering, I think, a more sustainable environment for 2 or more to gather and share this information and have that shared experience like you were talking about. We're not meant to be alone. It's ironic that there's a lot of people in solitude right now, but that speaks to the final preparation, I believe, of what you're describing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of the deeply self-aware that have pulled back and are feeling like being in their own space at the moment with very little interruption from the outside world. But that is kind of like the dawn before the new day, if you like. That is this is the time for a lot of them to get the profoundness of their own being in that space. But our natural state of being is in community. So, so it's like everybody will burst back out of that soon. You sitting on the beach in your bubble and those young men coming next door and being a bit chaotic. If a person was sitting there and they felt annoyed, then that's for them to just ask themselves, why am I annoyed? Like, they're just having a good time. Yes, they're loud, but why am I annoyed? So it's never an annoyance with them. It's an annoyance with ourselves that either we can't use that noise to carry on our meditation, that we don't allow it as an interruption. We actually bring it into the flow. And when that one got up and he walked in front of you and your heckles raised just a little, it's like a warning, then there's a moment for you to ask yourself, I've got a little bit of fear, there's a little bit of apprehension here. Now, what is that about? So this is the opportunity of the book of life that's presented to us in every moment, as you mentioned before, that it's always about us. It's always about us, always. So, and in that pause, just going back to what I was talking about before, about pausing and maybe seeing the man across the street, just as an example, and he's saying or doing something that we don't like, in that pause, we could get that we need to go across and take action. Like, it's not about just pausing and doing nothing, unless when in that pause and what we're feeling, we're clearly shown that we do not step forward and do anything here. It's just about owning what's the feeling in us and moving on. But often there is a feeling in us to step across that road and actually take some action. So it's all found in the pause. You know, we don't just step head first into something now without pausing for a few seconds, a split second even, and allowing the heart to guide, because that's where our soul self is speaking from, through the body, through the our presence in the body.
Yeah, the field, that is the field. That's the central of the field.
Yes.
I mean, it's even like the thing with those guys last night. If I had gotten annoyed, if I had externalized the things instead of internalized it, I would have affected my field. I might have
Yes,
hit.
yes.
My energy might have hit one that had the worst day in the world and thought, "Why is that guy looking at me?" You know, I mean, who knows? That's very important, I think, and that's when I say that not as a master. I say that because this is another stream of the experience I think that's happening right now. Like, we're becoming aware of how we affect the field. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Nothing. Okay? It is our self-generation here. And so at the same time, I guess you could say, you know, judgment's leaving, self-love is gaining capacity, but also not just for ourselves, we're starting to see it in others. So if somebody does fall into the echo of what's disintegrating, okay, the old patterns, and gets annoyed and says something, maybe to you personally, or you do it to someone, there is almost an immediate now of, oh, I don't have to tell you, you don't have to tell me, I might have hung up on you, you might have hung up on me, or whatever the case is. This is just what we're dropping. You know, we can see it, not just in ourselves. When we see it in ourselves, we see it in the rest of it. I mean, it's that weird spiritual science that you've been explaining. What comes first, the chicken or the road? Like I told you on the previous show, my soul comes in and goes, is it you or is it the village?
Yes,
you know what
exactly.
I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, the wonderful, like just
And
like,
you know, and sorry, Todd. In every moment of our life, we have choice, and choice is the most profoundly powerful moment we can have, because choice governs what happens next. Which way we will go in the next few minutes, few hours, few days, weeks, for the rest of our life, whatever. Some choice is that big, it affects the rest of our life. So in every moment, choice is the power point that governs the next moments of our life. So that's why the pause must come in and take over the powerful moment. So the powerful moment is the pause. I feel in for a second. What feels right for me? What am I feeling here? What feels right? And I make my choice from my heart-centeredness rather than from my thinking mind that doesn't get it right most of the time. So we respond from our heart after the pause instead of reacting from our mind. And that is it in a nutshell. So the powerful moment is now the pause, and it's not the choice itself. So
yeah,
that's,
I can speak to that in a very deep way on a personal matter. I think we talked about this before. On June 1st last year, I had this huge experience. So, which is even better now because I can look at it fully as my own reflection. Although that's primarily how what I came to, and it's because of the pause. I can only speak from my own
yes.
experience. So when this this amazing, traumatic, whatever, nuclear moment happened, I can only speak for myself. I chose to take a pause because it was the closest mirror I have, you might say, and so on. And while you were talking about that, I thought, sometimes a pause can be 2 minutes and sometimes it can be 3 months.
Absolutely.
And so as you continue to explain, what we gain from this, the awareness that comes in the pause, I was thinking about that time, this 90 days, 100 days, and that's exactly what I experienced, or at least the trajectory was founded well enough that it continued on, because I think there was a few pauses. There's been a few pauses afterwards, but I will say that is very accurate what you said. That was a very long pause, but it applies also in short pauses. And I think one time you came on here, and I told you about a guy that I went out to the other end of the beach late at night, not in a place I normally go. And a guy came and walked. I was on my feet, and a guy came and walked by me and was, let's just say, very inappropriate, right? So the old Todd, the badass in Todd, did I tell you this? the badass in Todd was like, I'm going to go beat this guy's ass, Like, come on. And then but I was in the pause. I took that in. I felt that. I'm like, how rude, whatever. And so anyway, the same thing happened. And in that moment, I felt everything. And then I thought, you know what? I should just go. Sometimes you got to do this, you're making a choice. There you go. Yeah. And I walked away, and I had talked about this on the show. I thought it was with you. But yeah, it's the same thing. So it can work for you, well, in the only moment that there is.
Yeah, exactly. And Todd, it always works for us. Whatever choice we make, we needed to make that choice. So say you'd made a choice to stand up and deck that guy, the consequences of that would have been what you needed to learn in that moment,
I learned enough of that.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
One thing is, I don't want to be in a Mexican jail.
No, I bet you don't either. But we get to a point where we realize that there's a lot of experiences we simply do not need to have. And that's where the pause comes in, because we've taken ourselves off down the garden path thousands and thousands and thousands of times in our lifetime, because we've gone with the thinking mind in that moment and reacted straight away, instead of taking the pause and allowing the heart to lead us forward into the next step. So we don't need 90% of those experiences. We don't need any of them now.
Yeah, and the reality is, what you're saying is that old knee-jerk reaction
Yes.
is judgment itself.
Yes,
Because in the pause, you're not in judgment, you're feeling.
Yes.
You're letting the silence speak. And what's really awesome too, I have to say, without giving details again, my own experience, but I see that happening too with another, like even right now, but also in close relationships and that type of thing, where that pause is mutual.
I was waiting for you to burst into song. Oh. I was just in the pause right then, just listening to the music. Oh, you're on mute. You've put yourself on mute.
Yeah,
now.
I put it on mute. Yeah, but they're having a carnival right now, and God, it's just I can't even explain it. I'm walking through the plaza, and there's children running around, there's couples, there's older people with the younger people, like the elder and the grandchild, and there's all these silly games and silly rides and silly food and great food, and and occasionally, I didn't see one last night, you'll see a borracho, a drunk, laying on a bench, just passed out, and nobody bothers him. The police don't
No,
bother him.
no.
Everybody's like, that's the El Borracho, or, and the dogs, it's just crazy. So it can't just be happening here. And your message today, I think speaks to what's going on. And I just want to say thanks for that, because it's hard to really encapsulate and explain this information. It's moving so fast, but yours seems to be, like, I think, a pretty good outline of it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Todd. Joy is such an infectious, magnetic energy. It's like we are joy-seeking beings. That is what we are. We seek joy out, and we want to be in the middle of joy. And even in our deepest grief, we can have bursts of joy through that grief. So you should be out there in that carnival having a wild night with the locals, Todd. That's where you should be.
My wild days are over. Can you hear the horses?
Yes.
I think there's got to be a dozen or more. They have these
Wow.
They have these horses out there. These particular horses. They'll have 3 or 4 of them out there, and they play the Mexican music, and the horses dance to the band.
Oh, how beautiful.
It's like I didn't know this was even possible. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, God, what a great summary of what's going on. And for me, that's a really different kind of experience, and one that I'm really feeling like I'm gravitating to naturally and organically. And that is, like you said, it's not conceptual. It's actually the state, the telling of the story as it's happening, because that's really, and it's almost like we've hit this final. This is the universal schematic. This is the original blueprint. Like we've landed in it, and now it's figuring out this is where we actually are, because we've had the things that we've had to, and I guess we will all arrive there. Like you said too, and I think that's a good point. It may not be in this incarnation.
No.
And that's
and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. We're eternal beings, so it can be any other incarnation that we experience ourselves fully embodied in a physical vehicle, experiencing a reality as our whole self. Just imagine what the dimensions that would bring to a physical world that we're in if we came with our full knowing. So whether we come back, whether we grow into it through this incarnation, it makes no difference. Absolutely no difference. Because we get to play forever and ever. Amen.
Wow, I don't even know what to say, but thank you. Wow, what a incredible episode. Thank you so much, Janine. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Todd. I really, really enjoy our conversations.
I do too.
Really, love them.
This was amazing. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I think we've got 2 shows tomorrow, and I can't think of any other announcements. But blessings of peace, love, and grace to everybody out there. I guess I'm going to the carnival.
Yes, good man.